Hi, Virgo. Okay, so it's supposed to be Taurus first, but I'm doing Gemini and Virgo first because the retrograde is upon us, or not quite yet, but it's the shadow. And because everything with me almost is in somehow Mercury heavy, I can't, with the Gemini sun and the Virgo moon, these are the two signs that I have to do the readings for before all the mixed signals start, because it's our readings that suffer. And then I'll do Taurus as well because my Mercury is in Taurus, and so that one also has a tendency to be misinterpreted during the retrograde. So let's get those three, Virgo, Gemini, Taurus, done today, well before the shadow starts messing with me, which, I'm very sensitive to the retrograde. So, speaking of which, we are in a Venus retrograde. I'm not going to go into all sorts of detail about the planets and such this time. We're keeping it really intuitive. However, for your information, you should know that we're still in a retrograde. You're still dealing with people from your past, very much so. There's probably been some really painful days the past week. I can tell you from my own personal experience that the past 3 or 4 days I have experienced a level of emotional pain, release, understanding, and insight that I didn't think I was capable of. And I think it's my Virgo moon that got me through it without reaching out to anyone. And that was really important to me to do that, to go through it alone and learn from it and not lean on anyone. And all the Virgos I know had moments like that somewhere in the past few weeks. I also caused a moment like that in someone else who is a Virgo as well. So I hurt myself. I hurt another person, but I also hurt myself. But in a way where we both needed to see it. And that's what I mean about the retrograde. Like, there are things that need to be looked at, like we talked about last month. But now we're past the stage of just seeing it and feeling it and emotionally processing it, which is not always, the easiest thing for Virgos to do. Like, yes, you are hard on yourselves, but at the same time, you really like having fun, and you love your friends, and you love being out, and you really, like, as much as you love home, you love being out, and you love trying new things, and you're a cerebral, sign. And sometimes processing emotion the way, for example, that a water sign would, that for you it's too heavy, right? And I'm going to actually get up and walk away because I remember that I wrote something on my phone that I wanted to talk to you guys about, and I think it relates exactly to this, so I'm just going to go and get that. And here I am, just looking through, finding my notes, and then it should be comfort zones cause atrophy. Virgo and Cancer is what I have written down. So, although processing emotion, which can be very overwhelming for earth signs, but also, anyone cerebral, anyone who's ruled by Mercury, for example, is going to have a very hard time processing an emotion without trying to tag it with your rationality, without trying to name it, without trying to label it, without trying to therefore somehow justify it, because we use our words to build our worlds. And when we're asked to use our emotions instead, when we're asked to process emotions, so therefore we can build from them, we can be a little like a fish out of water. Like, we can have beginner's luck with it, but it's still so foreign, you know, like someone with this aspect, someone who is a Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, rising moon or sun, is going to naturally be in tune with their emotions in a way that it's beguiling and it's very attractive at the same time. I'm just going to turn my phone off. I apologize. But there is an element to it. What I'm trying to get to is that there's an element to it that to a Virgo can seem like just a bummer. You know, like, is it necessary to go all the way here to this emotional rock bottom before, you know, we can have the insight? Isn't it okay, the mercurial Virgo thinks, to examine the thing and think about it, not like a Gemini, not to be cursory, but to really examine the thing? But isn't that enough? Isn't it enough to examine the thing and identify it and objectify it to a large degree and then be done with it and move on? Well, no, because, and this is what I'm coming to, your ideal life, your fantasy, what you want, is very much possible right now. You are in a very good position in terms of everything that's going on, and in terms of your own development in the past 3 or 4 years, in terms of what's been going on with Saturn, everything. You are in the perfect place to now start seeing this fantasy. This is a very Virgo fantasy. These people are celebrating. Check it out. These people, 4 wands, stability. 4 wands, you know, 4 poles can pitch a tent, right? Stability, home, celebration, weddings, 2 people really just having a great time. Lots of people in the background having a party. Beautiful place, beautiful entryway, very welcoming. The beginning of something, walking into a celebration, all of this, right? I kind of did that. So that's what you heard right now is my Joycean stream of consciousness. When I'm looking at a card, that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm sharing with you, because I've had a lot of people ask about how did you learn how to read cards. Well, I'm just going to say it out loud so you know why I think what I think when I look at the card. Okay, so this is the fantasy that you want to see, and this is very much like how you are, right? So you're like, yeah, okay, I can see that. However, you can't get here if you can't go through these periods where you learn how to do something that's uncomfortable, right? What was the quote? What did I say? Comfort zones cause atrophy. The way I would like to further explain this to you is what happens to your body when you stop working out. So Virgos, for the most part, are great about going to the gym. You guys take really good care of your bodies. You know, just you're an aesthetic person. So these things are important to you. What happens to a muscle as soon as you stop using it is that it starts to atrophy as soon as you stop using it. And then it doesn't start to build itself. And what is atrophy? It starts to break down. So then it starts to build up again when you start using it again. So if you've ever had a cast, then you know that because you couldn't use the muscle associated with that bone, that muscle atrophied, and by the time you took off the cast, if it was a bad break, then that muscle was reduced to almost nothing because it continues to break down when it's not being used. So this idea of there being a comfort zone or safe spot is false. And I know that gets to you guys because you guys live for that comfort zone safe spot. And I think that's why I wrote it down. Because when I heard it, I don't remember what I was listening to, but when I heard it, it was like, yeah, that's absolutely right. Because that's exactly how muscles are. You know, like there's no spot between working a muscle and not working a muscle where there's a comfort zone where the muscle is just hanging out and not going on one or the other side of the spectrum. it's always either moving in one direction or another. It's either being built up or it's being broken down actively. Okay, so what you see as a comfort zone, what you see as a place of rest, is actually a place of destruction. It's just happening it's a place of self-destruction, but it's just happening so slowly because you are a slow-moving sign, because you are measured, you are able to control that destruction, but nevertheless, you still end up in that place where you're deeply unhappy because you were in a comfort zone, and that's counterintuitive, isn't it? That doesn't really make sense. It's like, no, I should be deeply happy because I'm feeling very comfortable and I'm feeling very complacent, but even complacent has a pejorative connotation. Like, I'm feeling comfortable, right? But comfortable is breaking you down. Comfortable is robbing from you. Comfortable is taking from you. And if you apply this to your emotional life, then this Venus retrograde has probably been kicking your ass in terms of what have you become comfortable with and what have you therefore chosen out of comfortability. How many of you have ended up in a situation like this because you chose complacency, and now I'll use that word, right, because it applies. How many of you chose to do something convenient and now you feel like this, right? How many of you have gotten pulled and sunk down into the depths with a water sign and now don't know how to tell them that the only way I know how to say it is like that it's not that serious. Like it can't be this heavy. Like you still need your joyous good time. You still need to be that youthful mercurial energy. And I'm sorry to say it, but there's not much that's youthful or mercurial about this person. This person is deep and heavy and very attractive in many ways, but the way that this person is coming up and the way this aspect is coming up, it's not associated with anything pleasant for you. So the process of emotionally cleaning out your wounds has probably been pretty bad, pretty painful. And the process of finding out that a certain person in your life who has romantic feelings for you is just kind of a bummer. Like a friend of mine said to me the other day, about his partner, she's just an unhappy person. How many of us are living through that Virgo obligation to something that we may have started because it was convenient or because we were about to go through a healing cycle and we were afraid. Let's be honest, we were scared and we didn't want to go through it alone, and we could sense that it was coming because your intuition is awesome, right? Don't forget, you are the Hermit card for a reason. Who's the Hermit? The Hermit is the person who goes and sits in the cave and has revelations. Who's the person who goes and sits in caves throughout history and has revelations? There's a word for that person. That person is called a shaman. That person is the medicine man and the healer of the tribe. That's the person you go to, not if you want to know the future, but if you want to be healed of sickness, whether it's up here or in the body, right? That's the person who goes into the cave, and the lamp that the Hermit card shows you isn't the lamp that you're carrying into the cave. The caves are associated with total darkness, and Virgos love darkness or they're terrified of darkness, depending on where they are in their self-development, right? Like when I read this interview where they asked Keanu Reeves what he was afraid of. He's a triple Virgo. And he said the dark. And I was like, yeah, that totally makes sense, because someone who's a triple Virgo is so in tune to the other side that I bet as soon as they're in the dark, they can see shit and hear stuff. Oh, I'm sorry, I've gotten so used to doing the ramblings on the other channel where I curse and do all sorts of nonsense that, like, I've blurred the line. I apologize. So you have to remember that this person who you are associated with you are associated with healing and insight, and that lamp that he carries in your card isn't the lamp that you carry into the darkness. That is the lamp of your insight. That is your mind. That, sorry, I have something on my face and it's really bothering me. Oh my God. You know that feeling when you have like a tiny like hair on you or like a makeup brush bristle or something? Oh, so that lamp is your insight, right? And so to reach that place where people can come to you and really find the healing and the help and the understanding and the insight that they need, you need to be able to process things properly and not just with your prefrontal cortex. You need to be able to delve into this subconscious and into, you know, this brainstem part of you and deal with things that perhaps have been sublimated for a few years since this Saturnian transit started, right? And now April gives you the chance to break out of anything that is going against your spirit, Virgo. Like, I know you want to be the good person, and I know you want to hang in there, and I know, like, again, I know it's convenient, and you guys hate to be made uncomfortable, so there's an element of that, and you don't even want to admit that because you don't want anyone reading you like that. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to read you, it's just true. And why? Why do you need to be made aware of that and to be made aware of what it is in you, in your past, that is creating this unhappiness, this anxiousness to resolve the past? Because it's time. Because in terms of everything else that's going on for you and your sign and where everything is in the different houses, and it's just time. It's time for you to get moving. You've got luck coming in. You've got a new moon associated with money coming in later in the month. You're this fantasy that I'm talking about, this very Virgo ideal future here. This is the month where things not just are planted. That was last month. You needed to resolve things so you could start planting things. So as we come out of the end of this month and into April, you're sowing the seeds of those insights that you've had, okay? And now, towards the end of April, that new moon associated with money for you takes those seeds and goes right into like a germination process. It pulls you right into that manifestation cycle that we're naturally coming into, just in terms of, you know, where we are in the year. And you're catching it. You're catching that wave, and it's beautiful because you guys deserve it. You've been through it. So yeah, despite the fact that almost the entire month, your planet, my planet, your planet, our planet will be in retrograde, despite that, you will be having some good times. Will there be pain? Will there be more insight? Will there be more culling of the herd in terms of the yahoos you have around you and the nonsense you let take up, you know, space in your head? Will there be more of a culling? Absolutely. And why? Because we need to make room for victory and good luck, baby. I'm telling you, Virgo, see that fantasy. Watch it in your head. Do me a favor. And no, I'm not going to pull a lot of cards. I only have 4 cards out. I'll show them to you. Because I'm not, like, forcing these cards to come out. There's been all sorts of, like, oh, blah, 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 you shuffle too much, you talk too much, you do this too much, you talk about your ex. And this is something, like, I'm not going to read you, but this is something that I would like to point out to you. I would like to offer myself up as a sacrificial example of what you guys are capable of doing to people that can be really, really hurtful. So if someone puts up a wall between you and them because they feel like you need someone to be more formal with you, then the criticism becomes, no, I like it when you're super real. But when the person is super real, then the criticism becomes, well, that's too personal. I felt like that was a reading just about you and your ex. But then if I don't do that, and if I go totally technical to keep it out of my personal life at all, and I don't talk about that, then I really like it when you tell your stories. My point being, all of those points are valid, and I'm very, very welcoming of the Virgo opinion on anything because I think you guys have excellent taste. However, I point this out to show you that someone who had a thinner skin than I do with you, because like you guys do this to me and I'm just like, because of my Virgo moon, I'm like, noted, point taken. But the Gemini in me, the Aries, you know, Mars and Venus in me, the Taurus, Mercury in me, the Cancer rising, the sensitivity in me, the non-cerebral part of me is like, what do you guys want? Like, you know, and I think a lot of people get to that point with you guys and they give up. I'm sorry. I'm really not trying to be mean, but I think that people give up. I think that they get fed up. They're just like, if I can't do anything right, this is no fun. You know, I, on the other hand, have learned that if you want to utilize anyone in a way that you are taking their best contribution into account, right? If you're dealing with people from where they are and what they're able to give you and what their best is, if you're willing to receive their best, then what you will get from Virgos is constant criticism because it is their best. It is what they're best at, is assessing where the flaws are in something. However, I just wanted to point out that it can be emotionally exhausting, and you can tell that how jumping from one foot to the other for a more sensitive being would be really tough. Really tough. I just like, it's like a water off a duck's back for me because I deal with so many of you personally in my life that like I'm just like, yeah, no, I got it. But no, so there's only 4 cards out, and there's only 4 cards out because I'm not going to force a shuffle. I'm not. If the cards don't want to come out, the cards don't want to come out. And I understand why, because these readings are with time becoming more and more sophisticated. I think because we're getting to know each other more and because we're getting into a groove where we're growing together at this point. You know, if you're listening to these readings every month and having really keen insight into what's going on with you, then in a couple of months, you've had some real growth. And I know from the correspondence that I have with you guys and the amount of messages I get about the fundamental changes that you've seen in yourselves and the growth that you've experienced, I know that it's real. I know that this is a phenomenon where we are evolving together. You know, I, as a source of perhaps a channeling some source of insight, and you as someone who is allowing this guidance into your life and receiving it and letting it open doors in your mind and in your heart, perhaps, hopefully. And that brings us back to the point here that this cracking open and realizing that perhaps, you know, when you go to these depths, what you find isn't the most pleasant, and that it is so against your spirit and your nature, and you really want to get back here to this place where you feel like the good luck infused Virgo, you know, that you are. To get back to that place, you've worked a few years now, and it has seemed along the way, you know, just like it might never end, that perhaps, you know, the people upstairs forgot about you, you know, but no such luck. No such luck, Virgo. No one has forgotten about you. You've just been on sabbatical. You had many humbling lessons to learn, and here we all are. So, April, 4 of Wands, 6 of Wands. Yes, please. What could be better? Stability, and then add 2 more. Victory, moving on, movement. So let's go back to that concept of comfort equals atrophy. So if comfort equals atrophy, when are you uncomfortable, Virgo? I want you to start imagining, if you take 15 minutes every day for the next month, right, and imagine yourself, see yourself in that movie, make that movie in your head, fill it with all the aesthetic details that you love of what your fantasy is. See the fantasy. What does it look like? You know, is it, I mean, let's get the obvious out of the way. Is it an air sign? Is it being able to communicate better? Is it being more popular? Is it being more in tune with people? You know, the Page of Swords is a powerful card. It's a card of deft communication and intelligence, right? It's a card of reaching out. It's a card of networking. It's a card of youth and mercurial beauty, right? So is this the person in your fantasy? And is this what you need to get away from? Or is this what's going on in your head and this is what you'd rather be? You see, it's all up to the interpretation, depends now on what's specifically going on in your life, but the themes are going to be the same, right? And this person that you aspire to be or aspire to have or would like to emulate, whichever version of that, you know, whichever level you're at in that hierarchy of manifestation, watch it now. See it now. See it in your head happen. And then this keeps like gnawing at me. I know that towards the end of this month, you're really going to want to move fast. And it kind of sucks because that's exactly when you're going to have to slow down a lot. Because like the beginning of this month until like the last week of April, it's going to be very like fast and you're going to feel a lot and you're going to get really excited. And, you know, once in a while, when Virgo allows themselves to melt, you know, it can be a rush. It can be like a whitewater. It can be a rush. So just be careful, okay? Because there is a tendency when you guys start to get what you want, like we talked about this with Taurus last month, because they were already starting to have the good luck and feel that like confidence. You know, you guys are like really like coming on strong right now. There is a tendency when you start to get what you want and you start to feel really good about you and what you want picks up momentum, right? Like a domino effect, and you start to really do well. There is a tendency when you're here and feeling this way that you can be a little, I mean, look, I understand it because I love you guys and I don't judge this, but like I'm a Gemini, there's very few people who are going to be like that. Like most people are going to be like, you're being a dick, you know, or like, why are you being like that? You're being a bitch. Like you're being so cold or what. And also it's not just cold. It's like, okay. And also there's the obvious, like if you have a Capricorn or a Capricorn rising or moon in your life, then that person is going to persist. As well as this Page of Swords has been persisting for quite a few months. And then popular Virgo, also this water sign. But I feel like the water signs are like on their way out. I don't think you can deal with it anymore. That's just the feeling I get. Like you're walking towards, like if you look, right? Hold on, let me show you. If you look, you're walking towards the air sign and away, you know, from the water sign because you've figured out that you don't, like this like it's like the progression from misery and settling back into like the sunlight and into what was your ideal and what you want. It's like boom, boom, boom. And then there's, you know, if we were to look at these cards in a succession, you know, I would say if this was a personal reading, I would say that this was either an air sign or it was a Capricorn because there is a very, you know, there is an appeal between the Capricorn and the Virgo. However, a Capricorn Virgo couple has to be really careful in terms of, again, when they start to get what they want, the ego, and just feeling, you know, very, superior. There is always that danger with you guys, that you will err on the side of pride, because remember, what was the sin of the devil? Pride. And what do you guys suffer from quite a lot? Pride. And when you start to get what you want, how do you get? Proud. Okay, so be careful. However, this does not mean that you shouldn't be psyched and happy, and like in the Taurus video, people were like, oh, great, you told us things are going to start to go really well, and then you were just like so negative, like, oh, but don't be, you know, assholes to people. Okay, I understand. Like, I just had to mention the pride thing because the devil card came up, and because it was associated with the star, it means that you need to be careful when you start to get what you want, because that's when that sharp tongue of yours can start to come out. And when you hurt people like that, then the karma comes back around, and this momentum, this beautiful momentum you're picking up, right? You don't want to in any way slow this roll. That's all I'm saying. So one of the ways you can do that is watch your mouth. And I say that as somebody who adores your brain and loves what you have to say about everything. But just please, the razors, like in your mouth, like just keep them to yourself, because this is the month when that karma is going to whip back around and slap you in the face. And the last thing you want is to mess with this momentum. Okay. So April. Finally, after how many readings that were like, April looks really, really good and fun and exciting. However, emotionally overwhelming. Lots of, still, there's going to be tears. Still, there's going to be moments right now, because you've got the Venus retrograde and the Mercury retrograde, like just back to back. You're getting like pummeled a little bit emotionally. However, I feel like you will find some real support here emotionally to hold your hand. Okay, we did it. We got through it. We got it done. Why am I not done? Because there's something I want to say here. These retrogrades come at a time where you are being asked to renegotiate your freedom. Virgos are all about freedom. And when they get what they want, it's because they've worked and made an effort, and that makes it what it is. That's what makes it so beautiful and so meaningful to them. And when it's time just cosmically to set new terms on your freedom, sometimes that means breaking away from things, and sometimes that means negotiating yourself into things. But those moments where that happens in your life as a Virgo, this is one of them. This month is one of them. And so these painful moments that you must feel and get through so you can get to the good stuff, they're really, really necessary. I don't want you to discount that. If you find yourself, in tears, let yourself be in tears. If you find yourself wanting to dwell on something a little bit, it's because if you think about it, you're going to find some kernel of understanding there that you need, for yourself. So indulge in the pain only insofar that it teaches you something, and then move forward with it, right? And moving forward with it into a conversation with the universe where you say, this is what I want, and this is how I want it, and this is who I want it with, right? And that's how I want it to look when I get there. So I'm willing to give up my freedom, but it's for specific things here. And whatever those specific things are that you are willing to give up your freedom for, that you would be willing to get into a business situation, a love situation, a school situation, whatever, wherever your relationship need is right now. Imagine it as the way you would ideally love it to be, and have the faith that the universe wants to meet you on that road and give you exactly what you want. But you gotta focus on it now. You gotta give it the direction and fill it with the emotion that it needs to get that done, right? And if you've got someone in your life that's dragging you down like this, and just, like I said, when he was like, she's just not happy. Like, if you've got a he or a she that's just not happy, my friend, like I told you that time about Carlito's Way, like, you know, a bullet will kiss you, a favor will kill you faster than a bullet. By the same logic, I don't have a saying, but I grew up in that neighborhood, basically, you know what I mean? Like, I grew up uptown, so, like, my logic is just that way. By that same logic, like, nobody is getting in your grave. When it's time for you to go, no one is going to climb into your grave for you, nor could they, even if they wanted to, and say, no, I'll take this person's place. If you are going to compromise and sacrifice your time and your life to be around someone who's just naturally unhappy, you are just you may as well give them your life. Because you're saying that I don't care what happens to my life. Your need to be despondent is greater than my need to have a joyous existence. Your life is no longer your own when you make that compromise. And I don't think that you guys are built to make compromises like that. I think that you have in the past because you've been through a hard time the past 3 years. I think you have because you have this overwhelming sense of loyalty and devotion and obligation. However, when it comes down to it, I don't think that you're able to stick it out. I don't. I think you get to a point where you crack inside and you go, and that self-preservation instinct kicks in and you go, nope, I'm out. And as much as people criticize you for that, and as much as there are probably thousands of people watching this because you did that, right now is one of those times where it's like, you know, whenever a Virgo has reached out to me this past month about April and what's going to happen next month, the analogy that I've given them is, you know, have you seen Titanic? That's what I'm saying to all of them. Have you seen Titanic? Yes, get on the door. You can't save both of you. Get on the door. If he wants to drown and be in the freezing water, let him be there. But you need to get on the door because, like, it's sink or swim. And if it's you or me, it's got to be me. That's the way you need to look at things right now because you've got a very powerful, good luck time coming up. I mean, come on. This is the bottom of the deck and this is your outcome card. Like, money, all that stuff that makes you feel good. It makes you feel sexy. That makes you feel, you know, Leonard Cohen dressed to kill. Like, you are those people who are so bad. You know what I mean? Like, my Virgo is so hot, like handsome. Like, you guys are just, you know, my female Virgo friends from childhood that I still hang out with, they're so pretty. Like, everything that you guys, like, love about, like, you know, being that person, you know, now is the time. And anyone who's, like, dulling your shine with this nonsense, you can go. I'm sorry, but, like, yeah, it's all good. You're right about all of it. And I'm the bad, but you can go. Okay? I hope you liked that reading. And I will be in San Francisco as of April 1st. I will be there. I'm going to be there longer than I thought. I will be there from April 1st to the 8th, and then I will be back from the 12th to the 18th. I am doing readings the whole time. However, I am getting super booked. So there aren't a lot of slots left. So if you would like to do an in-person reading or you want to get a group together to do readings, please email me ASAP so we can set that up. And also, I will be in LA from the 8th to the 12th, which isn't really that many days, but if you have, and I will admittedly be just like partying with my friends. So if you would really like a reading for the LA slot, let me know right away, because I'm not really going to be doing readings. There's just a few there. And what else? Okay, also on Instagram, I mentioned, and I would like to mention it here because a lot of people have been asking, I am writing a book. The book is called The Tarot of Inner Work, and it will go into whatever insight I have into the cards and how tarot can be used to further gain insight into your inner self and what you can work with in yourself to become the best you, right? Whatever that is. So that will be out in the spring. I will be diligently working on that, and I will also be introducing a set of videos that you can buy where each video goes into detail for about 45 minutes on a particular sign, depending on gender. So you'll be able to buy it like Cancer male, Virgo female, like, and it'll be like a 45-minute video of me just sitting here talking about that sign and about how to attract that sign, what turns that sign off, what makes that sign mad, how to flirt with that sign, what colors they like, what gifts they like, you know, stuff like that. So that's also going to be something that you can purchase, and I'm going to have those available to you on the Facebook page where you can just order them through the page within the next week. Okay, so look out for that stuff. I will put my email address below as always, so if you would like to get a reading. The readings are over the phone, over Skype or FaceTime, or in person, or in groups. And lately there's been a lot of gift readings, like people who have a friend who loves the channel and, you know, then like get in touch and like, my friend loves your channel, I want to give her a surprise reading, like stuff like that. So that's been cool. All right, that was all the nitty-gritty info. I hope you guys have a great April. You deserve it. Take your risks. Fantasy is a risk, okay? Take it from a Gemini. Fantasy is a risk, but it is a risk always worth taking. And you're in a moment right now where you really can't lose. So it's a good time for it, okay? I love you.